Okay, ready? So, this should. Oh, wait, it's your turn.
Yeah.
I was about to win.
It's our turn.
If you get a 3, you win.
We're here.
Okay, ready? So, this should. Oh, wait, it's your turn.
Yeah.
I was about to win.
It's our turn.
If you get a 3, you win.
We're here.
Okay, ready? So, this should. Oh, wait, it's your turn.
One tribe, one kind, one planet, one race. It's all one blood, don't care about your face, color of your eye, or the tone of your skin. Don't care where you are, don't care where you been. Cause where we gonna go is where we wanna be. The place where the native language is unity, and the continent is called Pangea. And the main ideas are connected like a sphere. No propaganda to try to upperhand us. Cause man, I'm loving this peace. Man, I'm loving this peace. Man, I'm loving this peace. I don't need no leader that's gonna force feed her. Concept to make me think I need her. Fear my brother and fear my sister, and shoot my neighbor with my big missile. If I had an enemy, if I had an enemy, if I had an enemy, then my enemy's gonna try to come and kill me. Cause I'm his enemy. There's one tribe, y'all. We one tribe, y'all. We one tribe, y'all. We are one people.
Oh, hi. Let me take this off and talk with you for a minute. We're so pleased that you've joined us today for the Duck Race to End Racism. Sorry we have to do this virtually and can't meet with all of you down at Syracuse's Inner Harbor as we've done for the last 17 years. But this year, for our 18th year, we're doing a virtual duck race because of COVID. And little did we know how big it was going to become to do this virtually. And so we're really glad that you could join us today. It is also critically important that we do this duck race because this is a time for us to not duck racism. Don't duck racism. That's one of our taglines for this event, which celebrates what it means for us to be in a world where we have ended racism. We're not yet in that world, but today with this duck race, you're going to see what it will look like when we have ended racism. And we're so glad that you are joining us for this event and being a part of it. We're going to demonstrate celebration, education, and articulation. And that will be a part of this whole program for the next couple of minutes. And now, more than ever, we cannot duck racism. And our agency has been doing this work for over 45 years, and we are not going to stop. We are going to stand with our community as we work on taking racism out of our hearts, out of our minds, and out of our systems. Thank you to our corporate sponsors who have been the main driver behind this. Thank you to our faith partners who helped to get all those tickets out there. Thank you to our staff who've worked diligently and so hard to make this virtual duck race work. And thank you also to our board of directors and our roundtable of faith leaders who have backed this work and been at the rallies and out there in the streets straight along. Now I'd like to introduce you to the very beautiful and very talented Karen Franklin King, who has been our Duck Diva for 17 years and our first ever virtual Duck Race Diva. Thank you again for being here, and let me turn you over to Karen Franklin.
Thanks, Beth. Hi, everyone. We are so excited to welcome you to the virtual duck race to end racism. If we were together in person, this would be a 4-hour event, but it's virtual, and we've condensed everything into about 45 minutes of prizes, performances, races, words of wisdom. We even have highlights from previous duck races. You might see yourself in them, and much, much more. So stay right where you are. You're at the right place at the right time. And you know what? This is the right time to get a brief message from our mayor.
Hi, Mayor Ben Walsh here with a special message for my friends at InterFaith Works. I'm so sorry we won't be able to be together this year for the duck race, but the cause has never been more important. We have seen people take to the streets in the city of Syracuse and throughout this country to fight against systemic racism and inequality. And that's a fight InterFaith Works has been fighting for a long time. And please know that I continue to stand with you in that fight. Syracuse's vision is to be a growing city that embraces diversity and creates opportunity for all. And until we end racism once and for all, that vision will not be possible. So please know again, I wish I was with you, but I am with you in spirit, and I stand with you in this fight. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.
As the Director of Diversity and Inclusion at Cross Health, we remain committed to our Diversity and Inclusion Initiative. We remain committed to our goals. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are committed to our goals. We are committed to having these much needed conversations and dialogues within the four walls of our organization as well as outside of our organization to make the necessary changes that will help eliminate racism. Listen, at the Duck Race this year, it's going to be phenomenal. We want you to engage in this year's race. We want you and your family to engage in this year's race. We want to know what you're doing to eliminate racism. At this very moment in time, this very moment in history, we need to come together. We need to celebrate, we need to listen, we need to learn, and then we need to act.
Our city is rich in many cultures. When the Duck Race is not virtual, you get a chance to experience lots of different people and celebrate our humanity and our diversity. And we are so grateful for those who bring this forward.
I think this event actually highlights the beauty of Syracuse, the beauty of the United States, the beauty of the people, to show that we stand together despite all our differences.
I like stunning, I like shining, I like $1 million deals. Where's my pen? I'm signing. I like those Balenciagas, the ones that look like socks. I like going to the Tula. I put rocks all in my watch. I like texts from my exes when they want a second chance. I like moving on. I do what they say I can. They call me Gordy, Gordy, bigger body, spicy mommy, hot tamale, hotter than a Somali. Worry, hop up the stoop, jump in the coop. On top of the roof, flexing on as hard as I can, eating halal, shoving the lamb. So sorry though, all my coins like Mario. Yeah, they call me Cardi B. I run this like cardio.
So, you're wondering why Quackers, our duck race mascot, and Otto, Syracuse University's mascot, are hanging out together at a National Grid truck. Well, this is our way of introducing our presenting sponsors, National Grid and Syracuse University. Without their sponsorship, we would not be able to do our dialogue work, which includes community-wide dialogue to end racism and police community dialogues. We are so excited about the important stories coming from community leaders and people like you, young and old alike, who are addressing racism head on. Our presenting sponsors will share a message with you, and then the celebration continues with more entertainment, corporate awards, duck racing, Youth Quackers Project, Community Duck Race, and prizes. I'm sure you're chatting about all of this, so stay with us. You don't want to miss a thing.
Hi, I'm Alberto Bianchetti, Regional Director for National Grid in Central New York. Thank you for participating in our duck race this year. As you know, we're doing our duck race virtually this year, but the events of recent weeks tells us all that the challenges of racism are real. And that's what makes the work of Interfaith and the Al Hindi Center for Dialogue so important as we celebrate every year through the duck race. National Grid is proud to once again be a lead sponsor of the duck race. I wanted to take a minute to thank the businesses and institutions that have joined us this year, especially in the challenging economic times that we're in. I'm very proud to be part of your team in fighting racism in Central New York. And as always, may the best duck win.
Hello, my name is Keith Alford, and I am the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Syracuse University. Syracuse University is proud to be one of the presenting sponsors of the 18th Annual Duck Race to End Racism 2020. The duck race has been a staple of this community for 18 years, actually, and it has been a staple in my life in terms of the work to end racism. When I think about all that InterFaith Works has done and so many partners throughout the community addressing racial injustices, I feel a sense of pride, but I also feel a sense of urgency. Of course, with the recent events that have occurred in our country, in our society, we know that racism is far from over. We have to be diligent in our efforts, diligent in our quest to begin to fully understand the lived experiences of others. We've heard about the movement called Black Lives Matter. Well, yes, Black Lives matter. They don't only matter to Black people, they should matter to everyone. And so, again, we are proud, Syracuse University, to be a sponsor, a presenting sponsor for the 18th Annual Duck Race to End Racism. We believe in inclusivity. We believe in camaraderie. But we also believe in the dignity and worth of humankind. Thank you.
I have been long volunteer with the Duck Race Committee. That is a fun way of getting the message across, of talking about racism without being serious when it's such a serious topic.
My kids love to go to the aquarium, and they love the diversity of fish, all colors. Same thing happens in the zoo. Same thing happens in the park, seeing all the colors of different flowers and trees and plants. We appreciate diversity, but for some reason, when it comes to people, some people don't appreciate diversity that much. Only last night I came across that quote which I liked a lot. It said, piano keys are black and white, but to your ears they sound like a million colors. I believe people just like you today coming together can make the best symphony, can make our life so happy, because if hate exists, no winner.
We could, well, the duck race basically, to end racism. Like it's bringing people from different cultures together. Everybody's together and ending racism.
Never, 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 oh never.
Our 2020 sponsors this year came through to support this amazing virtual event, and we're so grateful. Many of our corporate sponsors decorated amazing ducks at home to showcase their vision of diversity within their organizations. We're happy to show off their creativity and to announce the awards, including the crowd favorite duck. Coming up after the corporate duck showcase, we'll find out the partner organization winner and our top duck ticket seller. Stay tuned for stories from our dialogues and another not to be missed performance by Sydney Ure.
There is
see no choice to be born as Asian. Dear fellow, you will respect the power of diversity. That's who we are. I find myself and I know. He complain, hey, dear fellow, you will respect the power of diversity. That's who we are. I know you, brother, you should tell everybody in your family. Hey, dear fellow, you will respect the power of diversity. That's even though you know math and the science, it don't show for my fellow, dear fellow, you respect the power of diversity. That's who we are. Never, 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 never. Racial discrimination in mass ending. Colors discrimination in mass ending. Region discrimination in mass ending. Ethnicity discrimination in mass ending. Never, 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 hey, never, never, say, hey, never, never, oh, never, never. Racial discrimination in mass ending. Racial discrimination in mass ending.
So I just found out that the OCC duck is the winner. I'm very excited about that. We thought it was a beautiful duck, but we're so glad that people resonated with the duck that we submitted. And because of that, I get to choose a name from this bin as to who will receive the $300 toward their work. So I'm going to draw that name now and we'll see who the winner is. Not looking. This needs to be fair. So I'm happy to say Moses DeWitt PTG is the winner. Congratulations. And now I'm going to go tell my executive leadership team that we had the winning duck.
Thank you to all of our community partners for working hard to end racism in our communities and for raising awareness about the Duck Race to End Racism by selling duck tickets. InterFaith Works gives back to the community by returning 50% of the sales to the community partners should they choose. We are proud to be in this fight together with you. And now we especially would like to thank our top seller, who will receive an additional cash prize toward their organization. Great job, everyone, and thank you for working toward a successful 2020 Duck Race to End Racism.
Why is inclusion and diversity so important to our organization? We can't have a better community, a better city, a better society, a better nation without giving everyone an opportunity to become a better self. How do we not duck the conversation about racism? We confront that issue every day when we mentor the youth of our communities. We open our doors, our hearts, and our minds to youth of every race and ethnicity that are affected adversely by their environment or community.
One of the better steps, and is being taken now, is the dialogue circles.
It should be mandatory to take a dialogue circle.
Talking about racism is never easy or safe, but it's important to our community. It's a discussion we must all be willing to have, but more importantly, we must be willing to have that conversation with those outside of our race. The time is now in Central New York for us to listen, learn, and gain understanding from the experience of others regarding racism. If we're going to move forward together, In the fight against racism, we must first learn to come together to talk about it.
There is a lack of trust historically between poor communities and communities of color and police departments. It's a nationwide problem that we're trying to address here locally.
When we met with people from all over the country that are both police officers and community folks, there's a shared understanding that we're in trouble. We really have some huge problems that we need to face, and what we brought to the table is something that was quite unique. Nobody is really doing it as comprehensively and as deeply as we're looking at here in the Syracuse area.
And what we're talking about, not just looking at, are these dialogue circles.
My job also is chaplain for the police department, so I have the opportunity to see things from a couple of different perspectives. The interfaith dialogues with the police department were really meaningful because you had officers sharing their perspective. You had community, and it was a non-hostile environment. I think the police walked away with a greater sense of understanding. I think our community residents walked away with a greater sense of understanding, and that's what dialogue is supposed to be about.
So trust is something that is developed in these dialogues when people are willing to come to the table and discuss issues openly. Again, not looking for to win their side or a debate or anything, but really just to hear from the other parties and to be able to express themselves and to understand that they're being listened to.
A lot of people who grew up or were aware of absolute police complicity with the civil rights era violence. That goes back 2 generations, that many of the people who came north after that still harbor this sense that the police are not really on my side.
I have to agree with that sentiment, particularly in communities of color where it's been historically a bent for the police, for it to be felt that the police have not actually been allies, but have been adversaries. And so that's a generational thing. It is carried on to the next generation.
The perception on both sides between the community and the police has been overwhelmingly perceived as being a negative experience. We see people at their worst. When you see people at their worst, then you come to only see the worst. And so this is an opportunity for us to see that there are people on the other side of the table there, the other side of that conversation.
One of the most significant things that one of the community members mentioned was that this was the first time that he had a peaceful dialogue with a police officer, and it wasn't an intervention. Mm-hmm. It wasn't being arrested or or questioned in any way. So it was very impressive for him.
If I see someone on a scene that I've been involved with in these relationships, in these community dialogues, they might approach me because they know me as Eric, not as the detective who shows up on scene. Mm-hmm. So if we expand that to more and more officers and more community members, then that little tiny sliver becomes a bigger piece of that pie, and eventually maybe we could actually change something.
Because that's the heart and essence of why we're doing this, and it's the heart and essence of what dialogue is. It's trying to open hearts and minds to listening to different perspectives that you might not share, but how can we begin to get to understand each other and get to know each other.
Racism is something that people aren't born with, but in the environment that you're in kind of drives it in, and as a result you grow up believing that racism is an okay thing, depending again on the environment. But the best way to end it, in my opinion, would be to talk.
I address racism personally and professionally through communication. I seek to understand the story behind individuals I engage. I seek to understand how they experience difference.
I have witnessed racism around me, but I've never experienced racism as a white person in America. So I think having dialogue allows me to better understand the experiences that Black people and other people of color face, and also try to do my best to act as an ally and advocate.
One of the things that I found impactful while doing dialogues was discovering and listening to young people as they discovered commonalities with each other. There were 2 young men in particular that through dialogue and having group discussions, they discovered that they had a passion and love for hockey. Now these were 2 young men that came from totally different backgrounds, different circumstances, different places in the city. They even discovered that there were times that they were at the same games and had no idea. So from then on, it was amazing to watch them nurture a relationship and make plans to be at games together. That, for me, was impactful, and it was amazing, and it was hopeful. It gave me hope that through conversations, through dialogue, true dialogue, things could happen that are beautiful.
The importance of it is so that people are able to see that they have more similarities than differences.
I think it's really important just to kind of like end any kind of stereotype between people.
There's some kids that just stay in the area they're in, and so they become closed-minded. So it's better for you to go out and explore what other people see and what how other people's lives are, and basically have different experiences.
And I could understand the story of somebody sitting next to me, maybe something that I would have never asked them if it wasn't for community-wide dialogue.
I think it's going to help me, give me the tools so I don't just assume somebody's, either color, gender, what they see themselves as.
Because of how open people are in this program and because of how great the leaders are, I think it's a really open, safe place to talk about race.
I hope that more schools can get involved and that it continue going on so that more kids can have the same positive experiences I have had.
I think anybody that can and anybody that's willing to be involved in community-wide dialogue should be, because of how great an experience it is and how much you learn from it.
Community-wide dialogue is a place where we all can feel safe in speaking up about our own race and what we think about other people's race and how that stereotype can change.
Like, why isn't there a bigger program to get more and more people involved in what we're doing now?
People who understand each other are able to sit down and have more conversations to where we can go farther than just our community. We can go farther, like into states and into the government, like those things. If we have conversations, we can get much further than having arguments all the time about something because we don't agree on something.
I feel like things will get better for the younger ones. Change is coming.
I like touch your hair. Like I've never felt it. But
how was your day?
It was good. How was yours?
Good. I have gymnastics after.
Wait, you don't act black.
What's your name? My name is Zahir. What's yours? Trey again. So do you smoke? No. Why do you think that? Well, you look like you smoke.
Microaggressions hurt people even though you may not think so. The smallest comment can lead to the biggest impact.
A microaggression, short film. Cut.
I was born by the river in the little town, and just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change will come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I know it's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change will come. Oh, yes it will. And I go to the movies, and I go somebody keeps telling me, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Boy, yes it will. So then I go to my brother, and I said, brother, help me please. Well, he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Hold on, sister, a change gonna come. Hold on, daughters, a change gonna come. Hold on, brother, a change gonna come. Hold on, son, a change gonna
It's hard to put an experience that complex and emotionally draining and transformative into like a cohesive sentence.
I think leaving was the hardest part. The environment there was amazing. The support there was amazing. That was the first time I ever opened up. I like broke down so many shells. I think I found who I really am there.
Change is like the number one thing I want, you know. I see a lot of problems in Syracuse, even just driving back, you know, I looked at all the buildings and all the things that, you know, all organizations and resources we have and the ones that we don't and the ones that we need to be created, and that is what, like, that's fueling me, you know, and like things like how segregated the city is and how the poverty rates, graduation rates, things like that, homelessness. I think that with skills I've gained at camp and the skills of my peers that they've gained, I think that we can work together to try to improve a lot of the issues that are happening here.
I feel like what we lack in Syracuse is people that actually listen to each other. So I want to be those set of ears that, like, you know, listen to someone, like actually listen to someone. Like people say they listen, but people listen to like find a reason to argue back. I want to listen to like understand the other side, and then also put my input back. I think that's like the biggest thing I learned there is to listen. I just feel like I wish everyone I wish this world could be Seeds of Peace. I wish all the kids could visit, you know? I feel like if every kid can like go through that experience, the future would be great.
As you can see, dialogue is impactful. The El Hindi Center for Dialogue is committed to creating a safe space for people to come together to address racism and other social issues, and then to lead them to action planning to address this wicked problem. You've seen testimony of the importance and the learnings from the police community dialogues and from the youth dialogues within the schools. Now is the time to stop ducking the conversation on racism. We want to hear from our community partners. And then keep watching, because we're going to make our way to the student involvement in the duck race, the Quackers Project.
Quack, quack. Terra Science and Education loves the duck race to end racism. You see, there is no race, no ethnicity, no gender to the love of learning. The wonder of the mind is a blessing found in each of us. At Terra, we say everyone is born a scientist, an engineer. That's why we can learn to walk and talk. That's how we discover ways to help each other. In all its endeavors, Terra works to make sure every child and adult we reach can explore their talents and abilities. Terra knows that only by celebrating the gifts in every person can we all work together to make the world a better place. Quack, quack.
Hi, my name is Rita Paniagua, Molina Healthcare, Community and Relations Manager in Central New York. At Molina Healthcare, we embrace diversity and inclusion in different ways. Currently, we engage leaders from all cultures and backgrounds through our Community Advisory Committee. Through our corporate office, we're blessed with resources that brings the Molina team in the community to present community baby showers, the Molina Community Closet, and our very own Champions event, where we recognize unsung heroes for the work we do to make our communities better. Diversity and inclusion is a priority for Molina.
Normally, the Duck Race to End Racism engages students all throughout CNY in their classrooms or their youth groups. They participate in a lesson about identity, equity, or diversity, and then they decorate a duck to represent their group's identity. Then those ducks are lowered into Onondaga Creek and they race down in the Quackers race for a chance to win awesome classroom prizes. Now this year, before COVID hit, one Girl Scout troop was able to do their lesson and decorate their duck for Quackers race. Here with me are two of these Girl Scouts. Hi girls.
Hi.
Hi, do you remember one thing about the lesson, the Quackers lesson that you did with your Girl Scout troop? Lydia, what do you remember? You should include everyone. And Giada, what about you?
Every problem doesn't have the same solution.
Absolutely. Now you girls decorated an amazing duck, which we'll have to save for next year, right? Because I think it would be a little lonely in the creek swimming all by itself. Yeah. So many other students from around CNY participated in Quackers activities at home throughout quarantine. They completed this worksheet outlining their personal and social identities. And they had special access to Duck Race science activities thanks to our sponsor, Terra Maker Hall, and even a storytime video thanks to our friend Clementine the Storyteller. A special shout out to all the teachers and administrators who helped spread the word about the Quackers activity this year. Also, a special shout out to all the parents who worked with your children at talking about racism and identity at a young age. These conversations are so important.
Together, we're better. Stop ducking the conversation about racism.
All right, let's do this. The Quackers Race 2020 during quarantine.
One day this all will change, treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom like all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and I should come now. There's beauty in the unity we found. I'm ready. We still got a long way, but look how far we come now.
Hi, I'm Onondaga County Executive Ryan McMahon, and normally we're at the Inner Harbor as we celebrate the 18th annual Duck Race to End Racism in our community. Our community is an inclusive community, and although we can't be together this year, we still want to celebrate it as this topic is more important than ever. We need to celebrate our diversity because our diversity makes us stronger, and we'll be stronger together moving forward. So I can't wait to see you soon as this important cause continues right here in Onondaga County.
Thank you to our corporate sponsors and to our nonprofit partners. Please take the time to go to the Duck Race page and read their diversity statements and commitments. Thank you to the InterFaith Works Board and Roundtable of Faith Leaders, and to our awesome and tireless staff.
There needs to be a multi-pronged / multifactorial approach to ending racism. But I think the quickest and the best way initially is to do a lot of self-examination, right? Like when you see somebody of another color of skin than yours, what are the first things that come to mind? Like in the blink of an eye, you're already making snap judgments about situations, people, places. So when somebody sees me, what do they think about me? And then dealing with that, addressing that, and really start to dismantle some of our own stereotypes. That's on a micro level. On a macro level, I think institutionally, people need to start hiring more faculty of color. So, in a nutshell, I think that's a start, but I think there's a lot more work to be done. So
we have come to learn and believe that all people are created in God's image, that all people are beloved children of God and part of one family. We recognize that as a church, we have often fallen short of living into this ideal. We have often fallen short of our beliefs. And so we confess the ways we have separated ourselves from brothers and sisters in different traditions and from different races. And as we confess, as we admit our mistakes, we then have an opportunity to do better. As a church and as a community, an opportunity to work together so that we could truly say, we love our neighbors without exceptions.
What do we do now? Well, how about getting some ice cream? Why? Because it will help me to share a special message. Bill and Nancy Byrne always look forward to June and the annual duck race to end racism. They provided Byrne Dairy ice cream free, and they looked forward to handing them out. They're sorry we can't be together this year, but they're happy to offer prizes during this virtual event. Bill and Nancy Byrne encourage you to continue to learn, explore, and celebrate our community's rich diversity. That is what the Duck Race to End Racism is all about.
Hi, I'm Pete Milner. I'm director of the El Hindi Center for Dialogue. And up until now, you've seen great entertainment, powerful stories from the dialogue. We've seen messages from our corporate and nonprofit partners. And of course, we've seen great projects from our Quackers Youth Project. I know you're all waiting to wonder, how are we going to take those thousands of ducks now that we can't get into the creek, and what are we going to do? I think you'll find out. Stay tuned.
Where do we go from here? Well, don't duck the conversation on racism. Each one of us is unique. Each one of us can continue to learn and to actively practice ways to celebrate, recognize, and appreciate each other's diversity. We are one race, the human race. We come in many shapes, sizes, backgrounds, ethnicities, colors. Thanks for going virtual. Celebrate, educate, articulate.
Hi guys, my name is Ryan Burdick. I'm an 8th grade social studies teacher in Baldwinsville at Durkee Junior High, and we just finished our second middle school exchange of community-wide dialogue. And so it's been wonderful. I'm very thankful to be connected to this program. It's been a wonderful experience for me personally, and I think it's really important and really good for our students. And we need more of it. Thank you so much to all of you at InterFaith Works for everything you do. It's inspiring and important, and I'm grateful that you guys are around and that these programs exist. We are passing this world on to our kids from the moment that they climb out of their cribs, and we try to teach them well and show them they are loved, but in the end all we can do is hope our best was good enough, for they'll witness how this life can be so beautiful and cruel. We can't shelter them forever, but if we show them all the tools, they might leave this place in a little better shape than me and you. We are only passing through, passing through, passing through. We
are only passing through, passing through, passing through. We are only passing through. We've been watching this world from our living rooms, and it's been 50 years since we walked on the moon. And this big blue ball keeps shrinking, and I don't know if that's good, but for better or for worse, now this old world's our neighborhood. And there's no place left to run to where you can stay above the fray. So we need to learn to get along, not just get our way. And not only for each other, but for our children's children too. We are only passing through, passing through, passing through. We are only passing through, passing through, passing through. We are only passing through. And I wonder sometimes, what will I pass on? How much can one man do with a classroom and some songs? Sometimes injustice and indifference are the only things I see, but I refuse to let my hope become the latest casualty. So I sing love and I'll teach truth, and try to practice all I preach. If I can't change the world, I'll change the world within my reach. And what better place to start than here and now with me and you? We are only passing through, passing through, passing through. We are only passing through, passing through, passing through. We are only passing through. We are only passing through.
Thanks, guys.